Maldives! I'm sure you've heard of the name. Anytime someone mentions this name, the first thing that comes to your mind is that it's a beautiful country full of luxury resorts and beaches and islands, and that's pretty much it. And it's mostly for the rich people. Wrong. Maldives is located south of India and Sri Lanka, and it's made up of roughly 1,200 islands and 26 atolls. Atolls are not islands, but a sort of like a combination of islands built around a common coral. So they're giant structures, and one atoll could have multiple islands. They have complicated names in Divehi, which is the local language, but they have like snappy code word names like Ba or Ra or Ari or Male, which is the capital. It's also an atoll. Where do you even start? It's a beautiful country, so there are tons of resorts, but there are so many local islands as well. I'm gonna show you what Maldives is all about. I'm gonna help you plan a trip to Maldives, and I hope you will have an amazing experience just like I did. Maldives has one of the most liberal and easiest visa policies in the entire world. No one needs a visa. Everyone gets it on arrival, and it's free. So what are you waiting for? Moving around in Maldives is not easy at all. If you're not in the same atoll, it's pretty complicated, and most of the time you will have to come back to Malé and then get transferred back to the other atoll, especially if you're between local islands. So there are 4 options. Number 1 is Doni. That's the public ferry. It's the cheapest one and very, very slow. So you can check the link in description and get the details from there. It doesn't run every day, and on Fridays there's no Doni. So the second option is getting a speedboat. This could be private, or this could be the public one that the hotels or the resorts arrange. So if you're staying at a local island, check with them about this. The third option is domestic flights. Again, quite complicated, and I would not recommend booking them on your own because the locals actually get them about 1/3 of the price. So ask your hotel, they will arrange it for you. And the fourth and the most convenient option is a seaplane. It is ridiculously pretty. I mean, imagine seeing all the islands from above. But you know why it's convenient, right? It's expensive. So it's like $400 to $700 per person per way. So when you're booking your accommodation, check with them whether it's a resort or a local guest house or a hotel, and then go with what they recommend you. I would recommend checking on agoda.com or booking.com, and then from there you can book your resort. There's a few options when it comes to food. So you can get bed and breakfast. In that case, your breakfast will be covered, but you will buy your lunch and dinner as well as your drinks. Half board also includes your dinner. Full board includes all 3 meals, and all inclusive means you will get the drinks as well. But you need to get the list of drinks that are actually included. Email them. Also check the price of transfers. Mostly it's speedboats or a combination of domestic flight and speedboat or a seaplane. So a seaplane transfer could cost as much as, $400 to $700 per person per way. That is all when it comes to booking a resort holiday. You're here, everything's taken care of. I also want to add, it's a little tip. I would not recommend staying in a water villa your whole time, especially if you're coming in off season, because if it rains and there's storm, it's not a pleasant place to be in. Honestly, I have basically sat through the storm day before yesterday and yesterday with a proper solid ceiling. It just felt like it was gonna fly off. So I would recommend booking a couple of nights in a water villa and then doing the rest on a beach bungalow. It's also a good money saving tip. On local islands, the accommodation is fairly simple and straightforward. You book a place, which is going to be a hotel or a guest house. Most of these places are newly built and are really well serviced, which is great. The accommodation standard is also quite high. You can easily get a place ranging between $40 to $100 a night.
And most of these places also operate their own kitchen, which is really great because you get good food, since most of the local islands don't have independent resorts.
When you arrive in Maldives, there are a few things you need to do at the airport, and these are vital. Get a SIM card, a local SIM card. There are two companies, both have shops. One is Diragu, the other one is Ooredoo. There's no difference in prices for both. The only difference is the duration for which your plan will last. Ooredoo offers it for 30 days. Diragu offers it for 14 days. If you want to come for the bioluminescence or the glowing beaches, the best time is November, December. But it can happen anywhere at any time during this entire October to February stretch. If you just want clear, beautiful skies and beautiful sea, a good time is to come between October, sort of early April. Beyond that, the monsoon sort of starts to kick in. Mid-May-ish onwards is the monsoon season, which is also the low season. So there will be this 1 or 2 weeks period in the middle where it's gonna rain non-stop. That's been happening outside for the last 5 days. But after that, it gets quite pleasant. And this is also the time when you get to see the whale sharks and the manta rays. Depending on what you want, you can plan your trip based on that. When it comes to local island tourism, I would suggest that you sort of calibrate your expectations, because this is not a country where you just pop in and get something from the store. There are limited supplies, limited variety. When you go to local islands, make sure you have some backup of your cameras, whatever, because if you need something, you will have to go back to Malé, or it will take a bit of time basically. When it comes to food, the options are also a bit limited. If you like fish, seafood, you're gonna be good, but if you're expecting a lot more, you'll be happy at the resorts, but you won't be happy at the local islands. I would also recommend that you order well in advance. So what I used to do is just go to the restaurant, take their WhatsApp number, and then just tell them a little bit in advance. Usually an hour, hour and a half is the standard. And then you won't be disappointed. Otherwise, you'll be sitting there waiting for your food, because they make everything absolutely fresh from scratch, which is, amazing. I love it. Maldives is a Muslim country. You cannot go topless on most of the local islands except for designated areas. And these areas are called bikini beaches. You can still wear clothes if you want, but that's the place where women can wear bikinis and men can go topless if you want. Please be respectful of the communal areas. And another really good thing I really like about the local islands is the streets are all sandy, so you can just get rid of your shoes and walk bare feet. Oh, I just love the freedom. Maldives is a very safe country. Crime is almost unheard of, and people are really, really friendly and cooperative. I lost my GoPro on Fullerton, and someone found it, and they actually went from hotel to hotel to check actually who lost the GoPro. They're so friendly and amazing here. I didn't feel the need to lock my room throughout my stay on 4 different islands. That says a lot, actually. In terms of the people, they're really friendly and sweet. Actually, there's 2 types. One who are really friendly and nice and sweet. The other ones are a bit reserved and keep things to themselves. But when it comes to being helpful, Maldivians are amazing. I don't think anyone's as great as them. When it comes to helping you, planning your trip, doing things, they want you to see the best part of the country in the best light possible. I'm really thoroughly impressed. Are they racist though? I hear you ask. I don't think so, but there is this general concept that white people generally have more money. So it just plays a little bit of a part in the whole equation. But other than that, everyone is just so nice and friendly to the guests. They just want you to have the best time. So I don't think it's a racist country. This is the money of Maldives. It is actually pretty colorful and really nice looking, but this is dangerous. Why? Because it's a non-convertible currency. What that means is that you cannot exchange it outside Maldives. When you withdraw the money at the airport from the ATM, check the link in description for who doesn't charge transaction fees at the airport, by the way. Or if you exchange it at a currency exchange, make sure you keep the receipt, and on the way back you can exchange it at the airport. If you leave with this, there's no way you can get your money back, except for, if you're coming back to Maldives. If you're going to a resort, you don't need to withdraw any money. If you're going to local islands, you will definitely need some, because the shops, etc., some places just don't take cards. Not every place takes dollars, especially local islands. You will again need this, but most other places, diving centers, snorkeling, blah blah blah, guest houses, they all accept money in dollars, so that's quite convenient. But there are some places that will charge you up to 4 to 5% transaction cost per transaction, so it's good to keep a bit of cash, and not every local island has a cash machine or an ATM machine on it. How expensive is Maldives? You already know the answer to that. It is really expensive, but if you do a few things, it doesn't have to be. You mix a few excursions together, like going to a sandbank mixed with going for, snorkeling and, snorkeling with a turtle or going for sharks, etc. And that's actually going to give you some discount, and you can cover more things in a single day. I would recommend that you break your trip into at least one local island and a resort if you have limited time, and that's also going to bring your costs down. An average is roughly $100 to $120 a day in Maldives on a local island. You know what it is on a resort, so that's quite easy. So the main language here is Divehi, which actually started as a code writing or a cryptic language, but it turned into the official language of Maldives. But English is very common, and pretty much everyone speaks some level of English. Don't arrive on Friday. Nothing works here on Fridays. The public transport, dhonies, most of the places, they are just closed on Fridays. So Friday is not a good day to do anything. You cannot bring in any pork, any alcohol, any idols, any religious printed material other than Islam, but you can get alcohol in the resorts. One other thing I would recommend is being very careful around the sea, because a lot of people drown every year because it's very easy to see that it's a very nice, calm, beautiful day, but there could be pretty strong currents, and a lot of people drown every year because of that. The best way to get in touch with people, guest houses, diving centers, pretty much anyone in Maldives is not Google. It is Instagram. Just search the name and you'll be there like a bullet. Honestly, it works amazingly fast. I've never made such good use of Instagram in my entire life. If you're coming to Maldives to snorkel, to meet some beautiful animals, marine life, there's one rule you must stick to. Please, please, please do not touch anything underwater. It's really fragile. Do not touch any mantas, any whale sharks, anything, sharks, dolphins, anything. Do not touch them. Remember, you cannot take any sand, any corals, or any shells out of Maldives. It is illegal and it could get you into serious trouble. Another quite interesting thing is there could be more than one island with the same name. And I'm going to give you the example of Vadu, which is in 3 different atolls. So always check the atoll name with the island name, and then you'll be sure you're getting to the right place. It's quite important. So you want to know what to do in Maldives? There's tons to do. The best is obviously to go in the sea. For a country that's like 96-97% ocean, obviously a lot of it is around the water and the sea. So pretty much every island has a diving center and water sports, so you can jet ski, you can snorkel. On that note, if you don't want to book through your hotels, just get your own snorkeling gear when you're coming, but if you're booking excursions, they usually provide it to you. Pretty much all islands have their own reefs as well. They're called the house reefs, so you can go snorkel in those and find some interesting things. You will get to meet some stingrays, some nurse sharks. You can swim with the nurse sharks, which I did. It was a little scary at first, but it wasn't too bad. You can swim with like hundreds of dolphins, honestly hundreds, and it's amazing. I've never been so close and had a chance to swim so close to them. You obviously have to go to a sandbank, and most islands have one nearby. You can also arrange a lunch on the sandbank as well, but they're great to spend time in. It's like a little island all to yourself, and if you want, they usually just leave you there and then they come pick you up. They're shipwrecks. You can go have fun with those, but they're not that common, obviously. Don't forget to bring some insect repellent because the mosquitoes can be pretty brutal, and don't forget to bring tons and tons of sunscreen, but please use a sunscreen that is reef friendly, because otherwise the chemicals sit on the reef and they destroy it. So you want to be friendly, right? One other piece of advice when it comes to doing things in Maldives: do not use the underwater, the scooters where you hold on and it just kind of drags you around. Because I saw some people using those. The marine life, they just run away like that. The dolphins, the moment they hear that noise, they just get so scared, they're like gone. All 400 or 500 of them gone within seconds. Please, even if you get the option, don't use those. This is Brown Boy Travels. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. If I've missed something, please let me know. Also, give me some suggestions about your country. I will see you in the next video. Until then, you have an amazing day ahead. Mwah.